we have been talking about area. And so far we've talked about two different types of shapes to find the area of, right? So the first one was the area of just your everyday closed 2D shape, right? Kind of like these two here. And we talked about how each of these squares are considered a square unit, right? No matter the size, they're all a square unit, okay? And then we also talked about, if I go back a page, we talked about shapes like this, which is an irregular shape, right? Or a, what is the word here? A non-rectangular shape. So we've talked about both of those. And we've talked about a couple different ways that you can find the area. You can count the squares if they have them. You can count or find the length and the width and multiply. Okay, those are the two area ways we've talked about. So, hearing that review, knowing those are your two options right now, I want you guys to find the area of these two shapes. Don't share an answer yet. Just go ahead and try and find the area. I want to see how you guys do. My random wheel going here. Like I said, take a minute, find the area of both of them. Make sure you do both of them, okay? I am gonna get my random generator going. So just keep in mind, I might call on any of you. So be ready. All right, here we go. So first looking at this reddish, pinkish color rectangle. Ellie, did you find the area of that one? Oh, there we go. Okay, Ellie, what'd you get for this first one?
6.
Okay, good. So that's right. There are 6 squares. Now here's a little good piece of information. They've told us that they are square meters, right? So we want to write that. 6 square meters. Or, remember I did show you guys there's another way you could write it. You could write 6 meters, M is for meters, squared. Both of those are right. Good job, Ellie. Okay, going to my next one. Isaiah, did you want to answer? Did you have a question?
I wanted to answer.
Okay, hold on, because I'm going to my random, but I like that you want to participate. That's good. Okay, Cecilia, did you find the area of the second one? This bluish purple one?
Not yet.
Okay, you're still counting?
Yeah, I'm still counting.
That's fine. Let's see. So now I will. Isaiah, did you want to do this one?
There is 24 areas in this one. And
Good. Okay.
Each one are 1 centimeter.
Okay, so you measured, which I like that you got your ruler. That's good thinking. However, here's the thing with area and math. Sometimes they're going to ask you to measure it, right? And that's what unit you're going to use. Sometimes, though, they're going to give us the unit, which they did here. So this is actually feet, because each one of these is a foot, okay? So 24 was right, so good job. 24, and we're going to say square. We're not going to say square foot, right? Because if it's more than one, it's not a foot, That just sounds kind of silly. Square foot. No, square feet. Like you have 2 feet instead of 1 foot. So we're going to say 24 square feet. Or 24 feet is shortened as FT and a period and a little 2 for squared. Both of those are right. All right, let's go to the next one. Does somebody who wants to read this? Does somebody want to read our problem? Sophia F. Did that ask you to unmute? There we go.
Yeah.
All right, read our problem for us.
Anna says the area of this rectangle is 12 square units because each of the small rectangles is 1 unit long. Why is Anna wrong?
Ooh, let's think about this one. So she has her rectangle here. She labeled and numbered each of them, but she's wrong. Why do you think she's wrong? Who has an idea to tell me why she's wrong? Looking at her hand. Does somebody have an idea why she's wrong? Sophia H., why do you think she's wrong?
Because they're not full squares. They're not like squares.
Bingo. They're not squares. In order to find the area of something, that's why this word square, or this little 2 here that means squared, is super important. When you are measuring using squares, they have to be squares, right? You can't just divide it any way you feel like and count the numbers. Because if we could do that, I could technically, you don't need to do this on your paper, but I could technically be like, no, I'm going to divide it over here too. And then I'll count those boxes. But that's not going to be the right way because it's not squares. Okay? So that's all we need to write. They are not squares. Okay, Sophia F.
Can I put the units have to be squares? That okay?
Perfect. That sounds good. I like you using your own words there. Okay, so make sure you write that. That is why I think I told you guys when we started this, if you are measuring area, okay, if they gave you a shape and they don't give you information, you can't just draw your own squares in there. As much as maybe that sounds like a great idea, it won't always work, because if I were to put squares in it, my squares might be bigger than Cameron's squares that he puts in it, right? Maybe we both make squares and they're perfect squares, but if we don't have the right way to do it, then it's not going to work. Okay. Yes, Isaiah.
Can I read the next one?
In a second, I will come to you, and yes, you can read the next one. So just hang on. Hang on to that thought. I'm making sure everyone got this written down. All right, moving on to number 3. All right, Isaiah, go for it.
Think about how you could find the area of this shape. First, draw the square until units, then number the square units to find the area of the shapes. Area.
Right. Perfect. Good job, Isaiah. Okay, so they've kind of given us the squares, right? We just have to finish drawing them. And this works out, we get to draw them because they've given us the guide. So you need to make sure you're following the guide, okay? So it's kind of like a game of connect the dots, but we're only connecting the dots in this shape. Okay. See, I'm going to connect those dots to make my squares. Now my line here got a little wonky. So if you want it to be perfect, you could get your ruler, but you don't need to. So our first step was to draw the squares. Next, they want us to number them. Okay, and then you take that number and that'll give you your square units. Okay, and in this one, they didn't tell us what it is. They didn't ask us to measure. They didn't say each square is a centimeter, each square is a mile, each square is a kilometer. Some new words there for you. They didn't tell us, so we label it as units. We just say square units or units squared. All right, well, you guys are getting